So I got this pretty nice whole rib cap from Costco. Normally they sell them as steaks where they've sliced these up and then rolled them up with 3 or 4 slices into one steak and put them together twine. I actually don't like that because they don't do a really good job of getting rid of the silver skin, so that makes it really tough. And then, of course, after you've cooked it, then the 3 pieces sort of just fall apart usually, and that's not great either. So, asked them to give me the whole cap, and they were kind enough to do that. They only charge you the regular price. It's 16 bucks a pound for prime rib cap, which I think is a pretty good deal actually. And what I'll do here is just prepare it. And mostly what that means is just getting rid of the silver skin. So it's beautiful, beautiful cut of meat. They've done a little bit of trimming already, which is nice of them because otherwise I'd be paying for a lot of fat. So you can see he kind of like shaved off a lot of the silver skin on this side already. So I typically take my longer knives. And the difference between fat and silver skin, I mean, comes from its name. You'll see there's like a sheen to it, a little bit of silver in there. It's pretty nice. So you can grab a piece with your finger like this, right? And stick your knife underneath it. And then just run that knife up against the skin and drag it across. And then you'll get this nice piece of silver skin that you definitely do not want to eat. So rinse and repeat that. Try to make it as clean as possible without actually getting any of your meat. And the reason why the knife will easily follow that silver skin is because it's tough, and so use that to your advantage. And you know, if you want, you can always trim away some of the fat too, although honestly when that cooks off on the grill, or I'll just add some more flavor. So on this side, this is where you have the bulk majority of the silver skin. You can see these big, long cuts. And if you don't get rid of them, they'll just be super chewy. And unfortunately, when Costco makes these steaks, they'll slice them like one here, and one here, and one here, and one here, and roll them up, and they leave it there. So that makes it really hard to cook. You know, I've told a lot of my friends and coworkers about the rib caps and how delicious they are, and then they go to Costco, and then they buy it, and then they're like, what the hell? The steak was super chewy and not enjoyable at all, and that's because you have to really spend some time preparing them. But it's definitely worth the effort, because the rib cap is probably one of my favorite cuts to have, period. So you'll see here I'm going to slide my knife right underneath all this silver skin right here. So that's a good chunk, right? And I just pull. So now my finger's underneath it. I don't know if you can see that. My finger can go right underneath this silver skin. Just grab it with one hand. Just keep cutting like this. There. Repeat it to the other direction. So there. That's a bunch of silver skin that you don't want. And you can see, I could have done a little bit of a better job, but that's pretty thin, the amount of meat that was left on there that you're gonna throw away. You'll see here now on the meat, it's nice and clean, free of that silver skin. So just rinse and repeat that. And the better you get at this, the more you can tackle all at once, like this, right? Yeah, pretty good. Just a little bit more to go. And I'm sort of like trying to thread my knife right underneath that silver skin to get as much of it as possible. You'll see here. It's going to pop out the other side right there. Here we go. Yeah, so I like to cut just enough to get the whole blade underneath there, and I take my finger and run it all the way through like this, right? And then I grip it. So when I have something to hold onto and pull, if you keep it taut, that'll allow you to run your knife up against that silver skin without kind of catching too much meat, actually. You're just sort of pulling it away from the skin, or the meat, actually. Wow, that's a big old piece right there. Go. Hopefully you guys can see that pretty well. Just a little bit more. Now, see, this part right here is just fat. But underneath that, there's a little bit more silver skin, so I'm going to try and get that out too. There we go. So that's a pretty well cleaned up cut of rib cap, right? Maybe there's a little bit more cleaned up here. It helps to have a really sharp knife. It'll make your job a lot easier. I got these awesome Miyabi knives from Restoration Hardware, of all places, because, I mean, these are super high-end knives. They're, you know, Damascus style steel, Japanese profile, really thin, really awesome, real wood handles and everything like that. But Restoration Hardware is not known for being the cheap place to buy anything, but they were clearancing them out, and they decided, like, don't want to sell these knives anymore, so they clearanced them out. And you know what was a $3,000 or $4,000 set of knives, because I got a whole bunch of them. I don't know if you guys can see it over there, but got them for pennies on the dollar. So that was really nice. I also like Wusthof knives. If you get the actually forged steel ones, not the stamped steel. You have to do some research to figure out which lines of theirs are forged versus stamped. All right, so that's it. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cut of ribeye cap. Prime, so it's super well marbled. I am going to slice myself off a steak. And so the problem with Costco too is when they package these steaks, they make them pretty thin. They maybe do them, let's say 2 inches thick, right? And probably if you were to cut this yourself and only give yourself 2 inches, that's not enough for one meal. Because, you know, the thickness is actually maybe 1.5 inches here. So I would cut myself like probably, so this is like 4 inches right here. Beautiful, beautiful cut of steak right here, right? This will be super tender, super lean, super delicious. Hope you guys try it out. If you're lucky enough to have a butcher that's cool and will give you the whole ribeye cap at Costco, or go find your local butcher and they can definitely order or buy this, or order it for you, or butcher it for you and set it aside for you. So, all right, thanks for watching.